Okay. Hi, Jessica.
Hi, Lauren.
How are you?
I'm good. Happy Sunday.
Yep, we're back in the comfort of my own home.
The original studio, which is the dining room table at Lauren's place.
Yeah, right. We're back in the Nook, not in the nice sound studio, but we'll be back there one day.
That was fun. That was fun.
And it was really nice that someone else caught all of our talk. You know? Didn't have to worry about any of the sound.
A professional was doing the sound last week.
Yeah, always helpful. Okay, so this week we're going to talk about Real Housewives of NYC. Woo woo! It is premiered. We're going to do then Salt Lake City and then end on Real Housewives of OC. So Real Housewives of New York City. Jessica, how did you like the premiere?
Okay, overall, I like it. I'm seeing all the online hate about it. And I don't know, their feuds don't bother me.
What's the online hate?
People are saying like that it's so stupid, the stuff they argue about. And I'm like, you know what? I need a break from FBI scandals and really heavy divorces and family feuds. I love that they argue about like, Aaron called you poor. Like, I like that. I don't know. Everyone's saying that it's dumb and they're missing the old OGs of NYC, but I don't know. I like the fresh blood.
I thought the only thing is like the very classic. They all now are watching the third eye, like the third camera.
Yes.
Like I would say Jessel. I'm like the teeth are different.
Yeah.
The British accent seems more British. There might have been a little bit of a nose touch up.
I think Jessel got a bit of the ego because she knew she came out as like this fan favorite.
Yes.
So I think that's gone to her head a little bit. Yeah, it's always interesting when it's season 2.
Yeah.
Because they've finally gotten the viewer feedback. And everyone is saying Sai buddying up to Jessel is so because Jessel was a fan favorite. Yeah. And Sai was least liked, I think, from season 1.
Yeah, you knew what you had to do to get back in the mix. Bryn's hair, also less red. I hate that. I wish it was like a little more red again. I loved her with like a really dark red.
Okay,
so
I didn't notice Bryn's hair. All right.
But Jessel's veneers, I think, are the most noticeable out of everybody. Did you see that? Her mouth is like, it's still like adjusting to them.
Maybe I've just been seeing so much of her on social media in the meantime since it aired. I have not even noticed that they look different to me. Okay, I'll zero in on those.
They also start, it's like they're teasing us with the drama and gossip that's going to happen at the promotional shoot.
Yeah, so they did like a weird... Basically, they fast forwarded, and it said 3 days after now season 2 has finished filming, and they're now doing promotional credits.
Yeah.
So it was like fast forwarding and like seeing how dysfunctional and how many are not speaking to each other, and then it's like, okay, but rewind 3 months, and now you get to see why we get to that point.
I thought, you know what? Last year, I think the promotional shoot also had drama that happened at it.
Oh.
Do you remember there was last year's Real Housewives of NYC had actually one more housewife that had some kind of...
Oh my God, I totally forgot.
Yes. And she had some like racial, or I think it was a Jewish slur. There's a slur that was used.
And she got totally edited out.
Oh
my God, I completely forgot about that.
And I think that happened at their promotional shoot. I could be wrong on the timing.
Okay,
but
I don't remember.
So finally... I think Bravo's like, we're shooting this darn promotional shoot. We're going to get the drama here.
Yeah. But
anyway.
yeah, the big thing is it looks like at end of this season, Uba and Bryn have a huge blowout.
Uba's definitely coming in. I mean, I think she's always been hot. Uba hot. But now it's like she's not hiding it.
Yeah.
She's just like coming in.
Yeah.
With like, she is the... Chanel Ayan.
With
the one-liners.
And you know they're cousins.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up. I did not know that.
Second or third. They're not first cousins, but they were like, we figured out we were cousins.
Oh my God.
From being on the show. And
that makes total sense.
But also crazy. Like, what are the chances?
Yeah, I mean, and so a couple of things. One is Bryn still seems single.
Yeah.
Showing her
you don't say.
brother coming in.
And she moved. Did you hear that in season 1, the building she was in wouldn't allow filming?
Oh, interesting.
I seriously think she moved for being able to film at her apartment purposes.
Her apartment's been featured, though, I think. Like, it's cutely decorated.
Yeah.
It's definitely New York small, but it's cutely decorated, and I think it's been featured in like a variety.
Architectural Digest or something. Yeah,
it's cute. I mean, good for her. And then we catch up with Uba, Aaron, and Rebecca Minkoff comes in the scene.
We get her early. I didn't realize she's just friend of. She's not in the credits. Yeah.
Okay. But is Raquel in the credits?
Yes.
I hate to say this, but they kind of look a little similar.
Yeah.
They're both new.
I know.
I was a little like, who are we dealing with here? The thing with Rebecca Minkoff, just because I don't think she's got a natural friendship with anybody. I think they just brought her on because she's Rebecca Minkoff.
They're trying to make they did a few cutbacks of photos of her and Aaron. They're trying to make Aaron be the link.
Kind of friends with everybody.
A socialite a bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
And because my college friends are talking, like, we know somebody who's actually friends with Aaron that we went to college with. She's like a micro influencer now. But so I think Aaron knows a lot of people, but to me it really shows that nobody is really like friends with Rebecca. That she's just like seating herself in on certain things in the drama, and it's kind of like,
yeah. I wonder what she's gonna bring. She was very quiet, and
also it's like, is she just on because of her name? Is she actually gonna be good TV? You know,
I'd say mostly her name, but yeah, we'll see.
So Uba's got her boyfriend at this lunch that she talks about. She looks, she looks really happy. I would say, like, she looks like very happy.
And this is the boyfriend that was it Bryn at the like finale accidentally revealed Uba had a boyfriend. There was a huge blow up about it because Sai had repeated it. You know, it was a whole game of telephone.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, wow, the difference a few months makes, and now Uba is showing his photo to everybody.
Yeah,
and I get it. You want to like protect something in the early days, but I also feel like the explosion about him being like just mentioned. It wasn't his name. We didn't see a photo of him, you know.
Right.
I get it if he wanted to be private, but he really wasn't put out there.
No, and now she's like totally fine with it. And then we go to Bryn, Jessel, and Jenna. Jenna seems to be like the link between everybody right now. They're shopping for furniture, but it's kind of starts their drama that, again, I mean, Real Housewives of New York last year had drama that happened off screen, and they brought it with them to like the first couple of episodes, and then because it was the Cheesegate, remember?
Oh, good Lord, yes, yeah.
And then this year, it's like we're also dealing with that, where there was like some morsel of drama that happened, must have been right before they started filming.
Yeah, but do you notice, even going back to the cheese thing, who is the common denominator in all of it?
Aaron?
Bryn.
Oh, yeah.
It's Bryn repeating stories and kind of getting it wrong.
Yeah, right.
So my question is she doing that intentionally, or is she really just a bad narrator and repeating things back?
Yeah, let's talk about it, because I think that Bryn, for some reason, has lost her charm a little bit for me this season. Like, last season was all about, like, I'm sexual with Jenna Lyons. Yeah. I'm kind of done with that. Yeah. I'll date your dad. I'm just so cute and lovable. Yeah. I'm kind of like, no, you're not. And then she's now got this, like, super villain. Like, she's truly, like, become the villain within episode 1. Kind of across all parties.
With a lot of people mad at her.
Yes.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, I agree. I liked her more from the get-go, and she just is a little tiring.
Yeah. And
it's like also a shtick. That's what I've seen people saying. Like, she seems so inauthentic, where it's like, you can't be like that. Like, you're playing up for the camera.
Right.
And then, I mean, then some people were, like, really trying to psychoanalyze her, kind of saying with her childhood and what she's been through, clearly she deflects and she uses humor, and she clearly has kind of made it, like, she always makes it sexual, like.
Always.
But I agree, you're kind of like, just be real. You cannot be like this at all times.
And also Jessica, she's like our age, maybe a year or two older.
Yeah, I think she's, oh my God, Lauren, I was about to say she's 36, and I was like, I'm 36. Maybe she's 37.
Yeah, I think she's 37, 38. I'm like, it's coming off like you're acting a little too young for your age. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the big drama, one piece of drama, is that Aaron went on Jeff Lewis, and then Again, we have a podcast.
Oh my God, I know.
We have a podcast, and someone said something naughty
Lauren,
on the podcast.
Clearly we have to start having guests because that is how your podcast name gets mentioned. Nick Vial in the OC, and now we've got the Jeff Lewis podcast.
It takes off. Now, again, I do not think what Aaron said was horribly bad.
Yet again, it's like
Jeff Lewis was implying something, and Aaron kind of was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's kind of like these girls, women, hear their friend go on, and if they're not vehemently denying, but it's awkward. Like, if the host is kind of trying to be cheeky saying something, and you're going, no, I don't think so. You're not going to be like, Jeff, don't say that about Bryn. I don't want you putting that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you don't attack
go
the host.
in on him. So I don't know how much you want someone to defend you on these podcasts.
And I also think the money rumors on Bryn, I'm still curious. Like, I'm curious on all these people, Jessica. We just were talking about this before we got on. Like, it's like, where does she get her money? I mean, she's 38. She maybe has no kids, you know. Maybe she makes good money doing her freelance PR and parlay that into some brand deals. But I'm like a little like I think that is fine to talk about. I also am curious where Erin gets her money. Like, it seems like Erin is our age, and she is living. She's got the house in the Hamptons. She's got the beautiful, 3 kids. She's got the beautiful place in New York. Like, I mean, that's a lot of expense.
Yeah.
3 kids alone is a lot of expense.
In New York City. The one thing that I do think is interesting, and again, I know New York is insanely expensive, but that also means rent is expensive. Mm-hmm. A lot of them rent. Erin was renting that place when she just talked about how they just moved. Oh. And then they're now talking about a townhouse, which from what I can tell, if they do the townhouse, they're then purchasing because the husband was going, well, it needs this done. It's like you don't do work on a place you're renting.
Right.
But I think where they move from and where they moved just into is all rental, which is so weird to me when she's in real estate.
Yeah.
And you have enough money to drop like $40K on rent a month. Like,
right. But why can't
you don't have a down payment to buy?
But maybe that's a New York thing. Like there's some reason why they don't like sign on the dotted line.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a good point. I mean, it just leads me to this whole thing about like everybody's curious about where they get their money. Kind of all of them, to be honest.
Agreed.
They're all living a life that's like very like even Jessel. I'm like, damn girl. I mean, Pavitt must be raking it in to live the life you're living. But also,
sorry, like Jenna Lyons. I know that they made like she was this big name, and okay, again, she was like very C-suite at J. Crew. She wasn't making $40 million a year at J. Crew. Like,
I know.
And to live in New York, like I'm so baffled.
I'm right there with you. Like I need like their bank accounts.
I know. Just give me the statements and I'll stop asking questions.
Just a simple.
Just let me take a little look-see.
Okay, so drama number 1, Erin and Jeff Lewis and Bryn. Drama number 2 that's coming up is some weird Uber debacle where Erin had to pay for Jenna Lyons' Uber. And Jenna didn't really pay her back.
Yes.
And it was $250. Yeah. I think I would be annoyed too if I had to pay for a super wealthy friend or seemingly super wealthy and they didn't even...
Seemingly. Now we're going to allegedly wealthy.
Alleged. It's all alleged. Allegedly wealthy person and they didn't even say, hey, can I...
Yeah.
But we've talked about that before, that sometimes super rich do not realize that the burden that has on someone else.
Yeah.
Because for them, it's simple.
My question was this literally a generational thing? Because Jenna has mentioned she is almost 20 years older than a lot of them. She's in her mid-50s.
Yeah.
Did she not have the Uber app when Erin said, I had to book it for her because Erin's car broke down? Presumably, Jenna had her phone on her.
Right.
Isn't that interesting? Point. I'm kind of like, Erin, why did you have to book the Uber for her?
Like, why didn't Jenna just pull out her phone?
Yeah. I think she might not have had Uber.
God. Can you
she
imagine?
Didn't have an account set up.
I think New York, 50s. you could get away with it in New York, right? Like, there's probably still taxis around.
Jenna was on Watch What Happens Live from premiere night, which I thought interesting.
Interesting choice.
We're kind of, is she going to be the main? You know, it's usually the biggest one. Kind of gets the feature on premiere night. And Andy said, did you pay Erin back? And she said no. She still to this day hasn't paid Erin for the frickin' Uber.
I think Erin's fine. I think Jenna's fine. It's like everyone's like, girls, let's move on. Did she give a reason?
No, she just did like a coy, like, no. She probably doesn't have Venmo either. She's going to have to write a personal check to Aaron to pay her back.
Okay, so then we move into Sai. So Sai has done a complete 180.
She's gone to therapy.
Yeah.
Which, let's be honest, she needed.
Yeah.
She was a bit off the rails with her reactions.
She also seems, I mean, she let her old size slip out during the party, but I felt generally she seemed lighter.
Yes.
Interesting, Bryn and Sai are completely, like, not good.
Yeah, I know. It makes me think, too. I'm like, Lauren, we can't go on a show together. I feel like true friendships really
just, like,
break.
fall apart.
Yeah.
I think it's the confessional aspect, right? Like, when you, like, there's a little bit of chatter.
And yeah. I mean, can you imagine, like, after, multiple nights out going to events together, and then months later you get to see someone commenting and trying to kind of be shady and cheeky talking about you. Like, it was so minor, but even Bryn in her confessional going furniture shopping, she goes, I invited Jenna because she has great taste. Jessel, not so much. Like, I did, what the hell? You don't like that? You don't like that stuff? Would bother me.
Jessica, that comment was interesting to me because Jessel actually, I think, became a huge fan favorite because of her taste
and her style.
Yeah, and everyone was like, "Oh, damn, girl, you look great."
And can we also just like not knock someone else's when it's just different? Like, Jessel doesn't dress like you, Bryn, but a lot of people still think Jessel's fashionable. Yeah. You know what I mean?
But I really disagree with this theory, Jessica, when we come to Browen, which we'll talk about later, and her style. I mean, there's a limit to...
Agree. I wonder how she would do in New York.
I think she would flourish, but that style, I think, is disgusting. I just am through it. We'll get there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so... okay, so we get introduced to Raquel. I mean, not much to say. She's a lesbian. Jenna's a lesbian. They seem to be kind of...
They know each other from the fashion world.
Yeah. She seems very, fashionable. I mean, all these people, I'm just...
Very, cool girl.
Yes.
She rides motorcycles.
Yes. This New York lifestyle that Raquel has, that Jenna has, it seems exhausting, Jessica. Like, the putting together the outfits, the curating of the apartment, I mean... Jenna's apartment seems like it's constantly all falling apart. Like that chair. It's like, get that out of here.
Wait, what did she say? Did she say my AC broke? And I was like, that doesn't explain the tarps on the walls. Was it that it flooded your apartment when it broke? Right. I was so confused when she said the reason. And I was like, your hardwood floors are taped up. There are literally tarps hanging.
Yeah, I totally
think that was more than your AC going out.
I agree. And then she's still doing the edit, which is a little like last season, where she has the friend come over to edit her wardrobe. It's like, Jenna, we get it.
Except this time the friend is her girlfriend's mother.
I don't. I'm interested to see if we're going to get to see that girlfriend on camera.
Oh, yeah.
Even Uba's boyfriend. They kind of hold this season, this cast holds their significant others off.
I know.
In ways that we've criticized before, as the Bravo audience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Lala holding Randall off. Ariana. Yeah, all of them. So it'll be interesting to see if we see Jenna's girlfriend. For some reason, I think Bravo audiences give Jenna Lyons a pass because it's Jenna Lyons. Like, she's famous outside the show.
Okay. I really wish I could remember back to when it was announced, but I'm nearly positive I did not know who Jenna Lyons was when they announced and Jenna Lyons, and I was like, who? Right? Can you remember, or did you know who she was? Oh, okay. I don't think I did.
She made a lot of cameos in Girls. Have you seen that show?
Oh, only parts. I've never watched it.
She was Hannah's boss for a second.
Okay.
She's made a lot of different cameos, I think, throughout.
Yeah.
As somebody who's super trendy in fashion.
In the fashion world.
Yeah. Okay. And then I do remember her involvement with J. Crew a bit. Anyway, so.
Okay. But yeah, she totally gets pass. And it's 100%. Annoying.
Yeah.
Nobody gets pass.
So let's move to the Bryn party. It's interesting, Bryn is hosting this when everyone is mad at her.
Yeah.
Which I don't think Bryn realizes everyone's mad at her.
Yeah, I don't think she knows how deep some of the feuds are going.
Yeah,
she just thinks, I haven't talked to Sai in a while.
Yeah, right.
And then Sai calls her the devil. Or
she's like, Sai and I haven't talked, but we're still cool. It's like, no,
you're really not.
No, you're not.
Just wait.
Okay, so Abe comes and Pavitt comes. I enjoy the husbands are coming.
Yeah.
Like I think like some other franchises like they don't ever.
We like barely have any husbands.
Right.
Where was Sai's husband? I just thought of that.
Oh yeah, he didn't come. He's always been a little off.
He's been a
more
little
off camera,
yeah.
right?
And then it was Bryn's brother. That was kind of like the other guy there.
And so I mean, kind of stuff blows up almost immediately, which is good. I mean, that's episode 1. But what did you think of Jessel kind of saying like, oh, I have mom brain. I'm just not sleeping. Like, that's how I get out of everything. I was like, Jessel, don't reveal that.
Yeah, I know. You got to keep that one to yourself.
Close to the chest, girl.
Yeah. But funny. Just, she's like, whatever. I mean, that's just her. That is her humor where she's like, I'm just going to use that.
And then did you catch Rebecca Minkoff was like sitting on the sidelines and like, do I want to know what's going on?
Yeah.
And Jenna Lyons was like, well, it's a little
it's
early.
A little early, but get on in here.
I was like, is she talking about the, early in the season or early in their friendship?
She probably meant friendship, but it worked perfectly because it was premiere night. It was also like, Rebecca, sweetie, you're just a friend. So actually, if you could go to that other couch while the main ladies argue.
I know. Jenna was kind of like, oh, yeah, you're sitting there. Okay.
Oh, we didn't see you over there. Yeah.
Oh, so funny. The other thing, I was going to say this, or we were going to talk about this, but it seems like Abe and Aaron really do not.
Yeah. We're going to get a lot of stuff with them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, does it live up to the hype?
Yeah.
We keep getting cuts of her saying to Abe, like, you lied to me. And and then watch, it's going to be, he lied because he threw her a surprise party. It's
right,
like going to be
like caviar problems. It's like.
Yeah, so let's see if it lives up.
Yeah.
But they do seem to be having some issues.
I didn't quite I think she was maybe having a Heather Dubrow moment when they were at the ice cream parlor and this is jumping back so out of order, where she was like, she kind of like lost her attitude quite quickly with him on like doing mushrooms.
Yeah, that's another thing people were saying. Like you said, when it's season 2, everyone starts becoming a little more aware of the cameras and how they're going to be perceived. And she's probably going, not a good look for my husband to be joking like we do mushrooms, even though I think they might, here and there.
All I can say, Jessica, is that this cannot be it. I mean, we cannot talk about this Uber thing. We cannot talk about the Bryn of it all. Saying stuff about Jenna. It can't be the whole season.
I know.
I'm going to lose interest so fast on this.
Yes, let's just hope other things pop up.
Fashion was amazing. Soon. Anything else on? Oh, the one last thing I wanted to ask you about was also the side text of Pavitt being like Dory on Finding Nemo. Yeah. I didn't quite get what was going on because Sai was yelling and I couldn't quite. It seemed like Sai walked into a party or there was a party at Jenna Lyons' house and there was already tension between Sai and Jessel.
I know. I didn't fully follow, but then Sai texted Bryn that Jessel's husband looked like that. So then Bryn was like revealing it to just be like, well, look at what you said.
Needless to say, Pavitt has taken to social media and like has a little Dory figurine that he like now videos with.
Yep. No, he is the prime example of like how you spin something positively. He's doing the food influencer thing, and that was all from season 1 of them making fun of him flying to a city for a sandwich.
Right.
He's leaning into it.
Right.
And he's doing it well.
Yeah.
So
he's lovable, I think.
Yeah. At times.
So let's see. Anything else on New York?
No, but completely agree with you. They're better. Next episode is the final episode. People can resolve these current feuds. Yes. And we need to move along.
I'm good giving it 15 more minutes of episode 2. Anyway. All right. So let's go to Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Yes.
I love Salt Lake. I mean, my brother's watching Salt Lake. He's like very into it too.
It's such a good one. So they're in Milwaukee. Jessica and I are from Milwaukee. Yes.
They are oddly hyped about Milwaukee. Can we just say that?
I think they always have to pretend to be excited about wherever they're going on cast trips, right? Don't they always?
They just seem really into it for what we know of Milwaukee to be. I'm like, the Bucks game, the Bucks box. I mean,
but did you catch? They were down courtside only for warm-ups. Remember, we were thinking it was like an empty arena. That's why all those things we saw of them sitting courtside, it was because it was warm-ups.
So funny. So, okay, so they're packing to go. They get on the private jet. The private jet is packed, by the way. When Mary Crosby said the private jet is going to be filled to the brim, I was like shocked at how many people were on there. And I always forget they have to bring production with them. Right. So they're tucked in that.
Every seat was being utilized.
Fully utilized. Mary touches on her dad, how he used to live a street away from Jeffrey Dahmer. That is like crazy. That's like what Milwaukee's known for, right, Jess?
I did a Lauren here, and I was like, I want to check at least some high level facts. Obviously, I couldn't find any, like I didn't look into her dad, but I did Google where and like roughly when was Jeffrey Dahmer arrested, and he was arrested from his apartment in Milwaukee that was truly downtown. Because I was like, watch, he was caught in like another state, and Mary just has this,
right,
my dad was there right before he got, I was like, okay, this does track actually so far.
Yeah, she's not lying. I do think a lot of people back then knew Jeffrey Dahmer. Like, I feel like other people who've lived in Milwaukee, maybe not friends that we're friends with, but like, I feel like Milwaukee is such a small town that there's like actually shocking a lot of people that knew
like
of him.
Friend of, or someone knew he worked with somebody's dad back in the day.
That wasn't super shocking to me when she said that, just because it's called Small Milwaukee for a reason.
Yeah, that's true.
And the one thing I want to say about the hotel is I was actually at a wedding last night, and the bridal party was in the same suite, apparently, that the Housewives filmed in. Yes. That's how small Milwaukee is. There's not many options when you're bringing in, like, the big camera crew.
That did look like an awesome setup. When he was, like, in all the rooms are, like, around this communal. I was like, oh, that's a cool and perfect for Housewives.
Yep. And so they kind of talk a little bit about this, but I wanted to get your take on Lisa Barlow and her son Jack, the fact that he's like doubled over in pain and doesn't want her to come down there.
It's so weird.
It's so weird, right?
Yeah.
It just strikes me as like, why is this kid? I would want my mom there immediately.
100%.
I'd be like, please get on the next flight.
You're in Colombia.
Yeah. Right.
Is that really where you're like hoping to get medical care? Like, if it's his appendix, he needs surgery. Like, I would be asking for a flight back to the States to like get this sorted.
I agree. And I think to me, with Lisa, there's like always more going on with her family of boys than like what she lets on. Like, I think, Jessica, they just keep her at arm's length, or they have to create certain boundaries with her because she's so kind of self-absorbed, not in like a way that's malicious, but like in a way that they know. So instead of like having his mom come down and like crying and making it about her, he's like, you stay. Yeah. I'm going to figure this out and I'll keep you updated.
I fully agree. And Lisa spins it as, oh, Jack is just so mature now. He wants to handle this himself. It's like, no, I would look a little deeper. I think he doesn't want you there because you're actually going to make things worse.
Right. Or like you'll make it about you in a way that's not. Yeah, I don't know.
No, there's something deeper with that.
I wanted to see if you thought that too, because it's just, there's been a couple of times that she says stuff and I'm like, those kids don't want you around.
Jack wanted out. He was so happy it was Colombia.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Far away.
They go into the Casino Milwaukee.
Potawatomi.
And the Bobblehead Museum. Jessica, that's so Milwaukee that they went to the Bobblehead Museum. So at the casino, we get a little more of like Brittany with her man friend Jared.
Man friend, yes.
First of all, she hands over that phone to Lisa to text him back. That was bold.
That was weird that she fully let Lisa
just like take control.
And then also hilariously being like, having a great time, talk to you tomorrow. And then at the Bucks game, we see her like answering a FaceTime. So that didn't last long.
What is your take on him? Everyone is saying John Jansen walked so Jared could run.
Have you seen that Jared has sent DMs to some Bravo accounts?
Yes.
Defending himself?
Yes.
So yeah, he's claiming a completely different backstory, that he said he was willing and truly is just friends with her, and said he was willing to put his name with hers to give her clout. Again, like we said, I am not impressed that he's an Osmond, right. But whatever, allegedly that would make her interesting enough to production to like cast her. So he said, we went in saying we'd be friends, hence why, like, when I did a post, I called her my best friend, and that she took it way too far, tried to make it seem like we were romantically involved to use me for the show, and just saying we went in with two different game plans, and that she's crazy, and that this is not at all what he signed up for.
It seems that they are not official, that she is misinterpreted a lot.
Yeah.
So when people were saying, this is John Jansen part 2, I'm like, this feels different. Brittany seems like she is an insecure, kind of unhinged human being and would potentially misinterpret like what I would think would be very clear-cut conversations between her and him.
Yeah.
John Jansen and Shannon were dating.
Yes.
Legitimately dating for 4 years.
4 years,
Yes.
yeah.
Now, granted, Jared Osmond could be a fuck boy who love bombs her and breadcrumbs her, all the young kids, slang. Yeah. And she should do best to just let it go, which she can't. But I don't think they're anywhere near Shannon and John Jansen.
No.
So the second kind of piece of drama that's unfolding is Whitney and her designs from Alibaba. I did a little research on this.
Yes.
So apparently Alibaba can also steal from retailers like an Etsy.
They also go the other way.
Right.
Yeah.
So nobody knows, did they steal from Whitney or did Whitney steal from them?
Yeah.
Wasn't really clear, but I don't know. What did you think on that? Do you think she took it from Alibaba and then she's just
I'm curious to hear Whitney's rebuttal. Mm-hmm. So we obviously, it looked like in the previews, of course, Heather's like, so Meredith said this about you, so we're going to get the blow up.
I feel like she's going to deny it.
Of course she is, but I'm just curious, will she have dates and stuff to prove, like, we actually have a trademark on that design, so they stole from us,
She
like
should produce
like
that, I think.
100% if they do.
Right. I think the markup, I think people are like clutching their pearls a little bit at the markup too. It's like, you're always going to mark stuff up, like if she got it from Alibaba and she marked it up,
Also, like, I just think same with Meredith Marks, like any of these jewelry brands, unless you're, you're going to Tiffany's, that's marked up because it has the Tiffany name on it. These smaller designers are charging you a lot more for what that metal and little gemstone really costs. It's
and I don't feel like Whitney's ever said, maybe she has, but that she's designed this jewelry.
Right.
Like, I think this is Whitney's line, but Meredith has always been like, I've designed this jewelry.
Like a jewelry designer.
Yeah. Whitney, I don't think did that. So could you just be getting the stuff off of Alibaba? Maybe. I mean, I don't know. People are really clutching their pearls at this, and I'm like, I don't necessarily think this is that big of a deal.
No.
Okay, so Angie brings up the brow girl story, and she tells Brittany. I don't know. Angie, to me, Jessica seems like you cannot tell her what you had for lunch yesterday without her bringing up on TV if it was juicy. She's like truly just like, it's in one ear, it's out her mouth telling somebody else.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's what gets her locked as the main snowflake this season.
I know.
Juicing it all up, but
I truly believe it. Like, it's messy, but I fully believe this is her brow girl that was like, oh, this Brittany's gonna be in this next season. Well, that's interesting because look what she has. It's truly DMs. We saw
the receipts, all of them.
We saw it. So
okay, so Melly tries to like step in too in the box. Melly, thank you. I wrote it as Melly, so I just said it as that. This was like a so novice move in my mind. She like ran up to Lisa.
Yes.
Like jumped in the pool and then quickly got out and like got herself away.
The whole thing about, what were you saying? I heard my name and it was something about returns to Nordstrom, that she's going to get blacklisted or something.
I mean, that was like so, Jessica, it was just like cringeworthy.
Yeah.
To kind of step into it and then like run off.
It was like, oh, okay, that's what you said, Lisa. Okay, bye.
Great.
Just checking.
That's what I wanted to know.
She's like, I'm not cut out for this.
She's having like a pep talk with herself in the mirror, like, you can do it.
You can stand up to her.
It's like, boo-boo, just get out of there.
Yeah.
Get out of the camera light. And Browen doesn't feel supported by Lisa, and she realizes that Lisa's a little too about herself. I think this is like authentic from Browen, but at the same time, I'm just a little like, I don't know what you thought Lisa was going to give you as a friend, Browen.
I know. Yeah, honestly, I think Lisa seems like the worst friend ever.
People love Lisa, though, Jessica.
They do. People love her, but I'm saying in real life, I would never be friends with her.
Yeah.
She is someone that is constantly about herself.
Yeah. Like
and doesn't see it, and then thinks she's like she's always like, I'm an amazing friend. That was such a bad impersonation. But do you notice Lisa's comeback is always like, but you did that to me too. Like she never has like an original thought. Yeah. Like Whitney was saying something to her and she's like, no, but you lie. It's like, just wait, just watch. Angie's Lisa's comebacks are always the same thing back to the person.
Oh really? Yeah. I didn't even notice that, but that's a good call.
I'm always like, get an original idea.
She's always going back with like, but I'm such a good friend.
Yeah. Which is like if it's so many people are telling you you're not, maybe you're not.
I agree with you on that. One quick thing about Browen. So first of all, that peace sign bag, I looked up how much that was.
Oh, yeah.
It was $11,000.
Poof.
Which that was like campy as hell.
Yeah.
And then her second confessional look, Jessica, with the orange thing. It was a
weird like curling thing.
Jessica, I'm like,
it's so ugly.
If this is fashion, I don't want it.
I know. I saw it and I was like, that is so ugly. Did you also? I clocked a weird Meredith confessional. It looks like she's in just like joggers.
Oh really?
Real casual zip up. It's like a brown, fuzzy.
Was that her second look?
Second or third, I think we've seen, and I normally love, like, one Meredith is definitely in, like, this tight dress where we get, like, a little bit more body shot. And then I think we see a second one, but the third was in this episode. It's a weird zip-up jacket. Ever since watching Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and they all have the extensions. Their extensions are great, in my opinion. Yeah. In this episode, when Heather was talking to Whitney in the hotel room when they went and did a shot before they separated and one went to the casino and one went to the bobblehead thing. God, Heather's extensions in the back.
Were it really showing?
You just like completely see where her hair ends. Ugh. And I'm kind of like, these younger Mormon girls are doing this in Utah well. I don't understand why the older women that are presumably have a lot more money can't figure out the extensions.
Okay, anything else on Salt Lake?
No, but we are getting 2 parts from Milwaukee.
Oh, God, yeah. Real Housewives of OC. Okay, so we get off of the dinner party still kind of is remaining.
Yeah, it's like wrapping up.
I love how Katie walks back in after Tamara's leaving and is like, Eddie, Tamara's ready to go.
You need to.
Like, get out, basically, was what she was saying to it. And then they all kind of sit around and talk about them after they left.
But did you also clock? How weird was it that Eddie and Ryan shook hands?
Oh, on the way out?
Yes. After the, like, complete awkwardness at the arrival and then the huge blow-up, yet they shook hands upon leaving. Weird.
And Eddie and Jen seem like quite good friends.
Yeah.
Like, the way she kind of said to him, like, you go take care of that, help me, please. Like, that seemed like there was loyalty there that was almost outside of Tamara and Eddie and Jen.
Yeah, and I think it just goes back to the gym. Just that Jen was really, really involved and there like every day. And
then Emily grills Ryan a little bit, is like, so what were you doing with that guy?
I love when lawyer Emily comes out and I'm like, oh my God, you're like cross-examining him.
I know. And he's like talking about it. I'm like, dude, if there was one Bravo celebrity that could say, I'm not allowed to talk about it, out of all the lawsuits we've seen, you should have said that.
Yes.
And he did, but he did like 4 sentences too late, Jessica.
Yes. Yeah. He kind of explained, like he first of all admitted, I've been there with him. Who wouldn't want to go to Vegas with their buddy who's kind of like a bookie there? And you're like, so you're admitting he's doing that? You are placing yourself there. Yeah. You're admitting you know what he's doing. Oh my God, it was so many things wrong. His lawyer was probably like, Ryan!
Stop talking about it.
When they watched the episode. Like, oh, you've just really done a number on our case.
Yeah, I love it. I totally agree with you. Emily was like kind of cross-examining. And then Shannon and Heather.
And Katie go furniture shopping.
Yes.
Yeah.
Odd combo, right?
Very odd, since I thought Heather and Katie still
were like
don't
mad
like
at each other. And then she openly talks about the dinner that she didn't invite Shannon to or Heather to.
Well, I think Heather, maybe it was mentioned it was because Terry was recovering. But yeah, to just straight up, I meant to say it last time. That was another thing where when Katie was like, I'm having them, and I just, I didn't invite Shannon because it's a couples thing. And in my head, again, like from like, for so long being like the single girl, it's like, why can't Shannon sit at the table? I really don't think it would have thrown off the vibes. Everyone was still fighting and screaming at each other. But I just hate when it's like, oh, she doesn't have a partner, so like she's not coming to the dinner.
Well, and I feel like Heather was actually visibly annoyed that she was not at like the epicenter of this drama. Like I feel like Shannon's got her own storyline. She's locked in, but Heather like kind of needs to be still like, around.
Terry's nose job ain't getting me a seat next to Andy at the reunion.
No, and neither is the Gina fight that she keeps, or the Emily fight that she keeps trying to perpetuate. You know,
oh
like,
my God.
So I feel like she was a little bit visibly like, wait, I should have been there. And then she says the weird point blank question to Katie, what side are you on between her and Emily
with the clothing? Which again, can this argument be done?
I know.
I'm sick of hearing. Also because there's really no point to it because Emily keeps saying, I know Heather didn't do anything malicious.
Yeah.
So then why are you bringing it up other than like awareness?
But Heather, okay, let's talk about this because Heather this season feels very entitled to tell people that she doesn't want to talk about it. Yes. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And then Heather walks up to Emily at Shannon's 60th and says, I want to talk about it with you. And Emily's like, no. And then Heather still pushes for it.
And got her. I thought that was so interesting, and I hadn't realized that myself. But when it was either Gina or Emily and then a confessional goes, Heather will only ever talk to you on her terms.
Yeah.
And it's when she's had time to prep and think about how she's going to respond. And it's so true. That's why she kept shutting Katie down. Because in her head, she's like, no, I have to formulate the best response about this paparazzi stuff. So she will never do it in the moment. And that is not authentic. We need her to stop
And then
doing
it truly plays out with Emily where she doesn't see Emily's side, doesn't see Emily's side, and then has the time to prep, and then comes in empathetic and sympathetic, and all of a sudden it's a new Heather.
I mean, Heather obviously and her family have a whole team. I would not be shocked in the slightest that during filming situations arise, Heather then pushes it off so that she can freaking speak to her PR person.
I totally agree.
And then the PR person's like, Heather, not a good look if you're going to go toe-to-toe with Emily. This is about a body image thing. You're rail thin. You need to apologize and just side with, you know what I mean? Where in the moment, Heather wants to be like, I did nothing wrong.
Right. I totally agree with you.
She is getting coached on how to reply.
I just hope she gets called out on it. Like, I'm tired of Heather Dubrow.
Yeah.
And like it's clear we've moved into an era of Housewives franchise where everybody is, like you and I talk about it. We talk about their plot that's actually going on, but we also talk about how they're coming off. You know, it's like, it's the double side of it.
Yeah.
Heather is too manufactured. There's a balance. Like, it's like, yeah, you can be out for the cameras.
Right.
That's human nature. But when you start to become so contrived to always be like on the right side of history.
Yeah.
That was Heather's line, by the way. She said, Gina's on the wrong side of history on this one. That's like, it's clear that's what she thinks. You know?
Right.
Okay, so let's see, back to the tea, which is kind of like the main point of this.
Yeah.
What do you think about the flowers that Alexis sent?
Alexis, I mean, we already knew she was delusional and not of the right mind, but just literally in what world do you think having a lawsuit that your boyfriend has just filed against a woman and you think an olive branch is going to change it?
And then she kind of loses her damn mind when they are like, you're not going to London.
Yeah. No, everyone was saying they were like catching that frame where she's just sitting there like eyes are just like, you know, wide and almost like shaking her head. And they're like, the moment Alexis realized she will not be back for another season of Real, like Shannon is effectively cold shouldering her out of the group and she's only friend of. So she has no right to be on the trip. And she's also going, I want a freaking free trip to London.
Well, it's also really weird. I think that John is like sitting in that room.
He's upstairs with like the door open. I know.
Jessica, with the door open. Like, it's like, that is weird.
Yeah.
And then
even Katie and Jen were like, John's upstairs? Like when she was like, I have to go up there or something.
And then he's on the confessional with Alexis.
Yeah.
It's really giving, like, have you seen the joke on Instagram where, like, a girl will be, like, saying something and then people meme it out as, like, a guy is sitting next to her, like, holding a gun to her head or, like, a knife to her throat. And she comes off, the reason why she's being so weird or saying something so weird is because this guy is sitting next to her. It's a meme. It's, like, a meme, like, thing where.
But that's what you thought when
Yes.
John was sitting next to Alexis. Like, oh, that's why she has to say that.
It's like, has he been sitting there the whole time? Like, watching
Has he
her?
been just off camera the whole
Like,
time?
grabbing her leg when she says
Like,
the wrong
no,
thing?
not that one. Don't say
That's
that.
that's what it read as when it was,
Yeah.
like, up and he's, like, listening.
Yes.
With the door open, Jessica. It wasn't even, the door was not closed. Like,
No.
think about that.
Yeah.
He is quietly sitting up there listening to them
Yes.
film.
There's no way a TV was on. He was fully listening in.
It was so weird.
To hear how the flowers went, how the delivery of the flowers, because
Yeah.
I'm sure he was aware that was all happening.
And then she oddly thinks the flowers would, like, be enough to, like, repair all this.
Yeah.
And, like, loses her damn mind about it. The whole thing was shockingly deranged.
I know. And then, I mean, Shannon's text to Alexis was just LOL. I want to make it clear you are not invited. Because we have seen plenty of Housewives trip where someone still shows up.
Angie on Salt Lake, right?
Yes.
To Trixie's Motel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But there's been plenty others. I feel like Jill Zarin in old school New
Yeah,
York showed
yeah.
up at that island trip and they're all like, she's here.
Oh my gosh, Jessica, that was hilarious when she did that.
I think, was that part of Scary Island?
Yeah, that was Scary Island.
Oh my Lord.
You know what's so funny is that to me is the OG of, like, these franchises.
yeah, that
when
time
somebody
period.
says that, like, iconic text though, where they're just like, just to make it really clear, you're not coming. You know, like, it's a new age thing for the girls and the housewives to be like, I think if I just come, I'll come as your plus one.
Yeah.
It's like an OG thing to be like that brash about it. Like,
Right.
just to be clear, you're not invited.
You do not show your face.
And I love it. I mean, that was pretty iconic, that text.
Yes.
Okay. And then anything else? I mean, Katie and Jen then get, like, kicked out.
Yeah. Which was kind
So
of
weird. She
weird,
just
but
stands at the
funny.
door and, like,
And was like-
motions to them.
And at first they're like, is that for the cameras or us too? Oh, us too. Okay, we're going.
I mean, Alexis was like, I'm done filming. I'm done with this.
And then just jumping back though, earlier we get like the scene with Katie with her husband and family at dinner. All I could think was, that's so convenient. Katie wants to find her birth mother while filming. I don't know how much of a storyline it's going to be, but I was like, this is so blatantly, you're how old? And this is the moment you decide.
I actually really like Katie, though. I
do too,
she's-
but she clearly doesn't have a lot of a storyline. The stuff with Heather is done. It's
Right.
squashed, the paparazzi thing. So she came in hot
True.
with that.
True.
But where else, other than just being involved? Like, she is involved in the other stuff. She isn't totally stepping back.
I think, though, as far as storyline goes, Bar Mitzvah is the most forced, Jessica. The most forced out of any storyline I've ever encountered that she wants to get Bar Mitzvah. At least there'll be a trip, right? There'll be a trip to Korea
Yeah.
to find the mom.
I wonder if everyone will go.
I think so.
Even though they have London? I mean,
Think
that
of
would-
Monica when they went to Bahamas.
the island.
Remember, she was doing that to reconnect with her family that was down there.
That's true.
They made it a cast trip. So
I'm so pumped though that they're going to London, just because I love seeing stuff in London.
I think
like,
it'll
where
be
they
good for
go.
them. Definitely no Milwaukee.
Yes, they are all adequately excited. I was shocked at how many of the women said I've never been. Tamra said she'd never
To
been.
Milwaukee?
No, to London. No, Tamra, when Shannon invited them all at the tea party, it was like Tamra's like, I've never been. Jen, not as surprising. She probably doesn't have a passport. Can someone help Jen out? Make sure she's got that figured out.
She's going to be like, I've never had to worry about having a passport.
Oh, you need a document to go out of the country? Like, she won't even know. She's like, I only go to Vegas.
Or Ryan will have some problem. And she's like, oh, actually, I can't leave the country right now.
Yeah, interesting.
Okay, and then anything else on Real Housewives of OC?
No. Pumped for London, though.
I think my favorite is still Salt Lake City. Like, I think they're...
Right now, with the 3 airing.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you.
New York is a little petty. I will say that.
Yes.
It's hard to get totally on board.
I'm always excited to watch all of them, though, when I have the recording ready to go. I'm like, ooh, can't wait.
So funny. Okay, what are the kids talking about these days, Jessica?
Yes. So just an interesting thing about where wealthy Gen Zers are moving to and where they're leaving. So just some like migration patterns. Also, I can't even remember. What is the oldest Gen Zer right now? Do you even, what age are we talking?
Age range?
Are they 25?
Oh, I don't know.
It's like the oldest. But okay, they did a study about wealthy Gen Zers that are $200K or more a year making. Wow. So I'm kind of like, that's where I was wondering what age. I'm like, well, damn, they're doing pretty well for themselves at a young age. So I don't know exactly how they tracked or did this, but what are some guesses of the states? There's 5 top states that they are moving to, the wealthy Gen Zers.
I think New York.
Yep, that's one.
And then California.
No.
And then I think I don't know, somewhere in the South maybe. Texas.
Yep.
I don't know what else.
Florida.
Interesting.
Tennessee.
Interesting.
And Colorado.
Why are they moving there?
I don't know. They were just saying what's interesting is wealthy millennials and boomers were like getting out of New York. So they just thought that was an interesting trend and I do think New York is kind of for the young.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Like,
right.
Can you imagine being like a retiree in New York City?
Yeah.
Like, that is hectic. So it doesn't surprise me young people going, but just that the wealthy young Gen Zers are wanting to go. Number 1 state that wealthy Gen Zers are leaving.
Where?
Illinois.
Oh, really? Why?
Well, Illinois always had a declining. Like, we've been declining every year that there's a census. But I was thrilled at this news. Do you think I want a Gen Zer near me making over $200K? How obnoxious they would be. So I was thrilled to hear they were leaving Illinois.
I wonder if it has anything to do with some of the companies that are leaving Illinois too.
Yeah, they really, honestly, they did not get into the vague. Why. They just did purely tracking of how many went in and how many left in a given year. But yeah, Illinois losing the most rich Gen Zers. So keep moving. Get out of here.
We're happy about it.
Happy.
That's great. Interesting. And then conspiracy theories.
Yes.
Okay, so the first one I thought was really interesting. It might actually be a little bit true, but of course the conspiracy theory network has picked it up. So Kroger, do you know that grocery store?
Yes, yeah.
They first announced in 2018 they were going to swap the paper price tags with digital price tags, okay? Which raised immediate suspicion by everybody of like, what are you planning to do with that? And
easier to change instantly. Yeah.
Basically, that was what they said. Like, less labor to have to change the prices when that needed to happen.
Okay.
Or if something else happened, right? They could just do it all digitally. But then in August 2024, Senator Elizabeth Warren and another Senator, Bob Casey, sent the CEO of Kroger a letter to investigate the digital price tags. Ooh. So what this one, not conspiracy theorist, but I would say podcaster is talking about, her name's Zio for Real, is that Kroger seems to have dynamic pricing, which means that if it gets hot outside, they raise the prices of water and ice cream, for example.
Wow.
Or if it's a natural disaster happens, they're raising the prices on batteries.
And like the essentials.
The other part of this that's really odd and makes one really mad if it's true is that Kroger is also working with Microsoft and an AI company where they're going to either install or have installed some sort of facial recognition so they can see you and if you've bought this and if it's a price that if it's an item that you buy a lot of versus not, potentially raise the price on you.
So at the moment of scanning it, like at the self-checkout, they're going to adjust it and it'll be different from what it said in the aisle because I buy it all the time.
Right. Or like your price of like sparkling water is different from my price of sparkling water.
Okay.
Because I'm like a newer person.
I hate this.
I know. Jessica, I know.
That is no bueno.
So they're being investigated now. So
good.
The government's
it's being
already
looked into.
Yeah, the government's on it. But God, if that's what they're doing.
I mean, God, the prices at grocery stores are insane enough. If they're gonna start like sneakily raising them, on me, and I like won't even notice.
But do you remember too? Uber, I think, has this or tried rolling it out for a second, where if you were like a very frequent Uber user, you potentially had to pay a different price than if you were not.
Yeah. Uber definitely does like surge pricing. Right. So when there's more demand, you are paying more.
I think if it was in areas where they were like less affluent, they potentially would not charge you the same price that maybe a more affluent. So Uber has kind of gotten away with it. I don't know if it's still happening, but I do remember there being a moment where they were either testing it or they were rolling it out. But now
I think Uber, at least what I found, there, there'll be times where I have a big stretch where I just haven't used one in a while. And then they email you going, we've added a discount code. So it's their way to like get you back. So maybe that's their kind of workaround, that if you're not as actively using it, you're getting a discount code. Yeah. In turn, making your ride cheaper to get you to come back.
I remember during that period when Uber was doing that, I pulled up my Uber app and my girlfriend did. We were at a bar and we checked because we live right near each other, and we checked who had, and it was different.
Like significantly?
Hers was more expensive.
And she used Uber more than you did?
Yeah, she was like constant, versus I was like every so often.
Because they're just like, oh, she'll say yeah. She's not going to be price conscious.
It wasn't massive. It wasn't like $5, but it was different.
To go the exact same way. Yeah. Oh, man.
Interesting. So, I mean, if Kroger's doing that, all of a sudden it makes some of the political, like, talk of like curtailing some prices at grocery stores. Like, I'm like, yeah, do that.
Yeah, please do.
If someone's charging me more.
My new like agenda topic that I'm gonna vote care about while voting.
Yeah, right.
What are you doing about those grocery prices?
Yeah, right. Okay, the second conspiracy theory has to do with Hurricane Helene.
Oh yes,
Helene. How do you say it?
I think Helene.
How do you say her name?
That bitch.
That bitch, Helene.
I have heard some of these. But yes, go for it.
There's a variety, but one is that Helene was manufactured. Yeah. Her path was manufactured to ensure that certain Republican states got hit harder. It's called the Bible Belt. It was hit a lot harder.
They're always hit harder, just geographically where hurricanes hit.
I'm not sure about this, but and frankly, Jessica, I tried to research it of like what exactly technology would they be using. It is literally like gobbledygook language. I read through this article. I'm like, what are you talking about? The neurotransmitter of the technology of the, geojode thing. I'm like, what are we talking about? Needless to say, the conspiracy theory is that basically there's manufacturing of weather that certain organizations do. One is out in Alaska, and they basically manufacture that the route the hurricane would take. They're able to we've talked about cloud seeding before, but they were able to manufacture that the spots that the hurricane followed was specifically on Republican states. Now, that's very far off. But the second conspiracy theory that Donald Trump is amplifying is that the government has been slow to respond to the Republican areas, or more of the MAGA counties, that have gotten hit. Not allowing them to get their power back on, not allowing them to get aid to get to places. Yeah. All of this is very suspicious as a conspiracy theory because we're still far enough away from the election. It wasn't the day before that Hurricane Helene hit.
And if there were, I almost think considerations would be made.
Right.
If millions of people could not get to voting, mind you, the places that had it would have been flooded out. Right. I actually think we would have had a situation where it was the date is changed of the election. Yeah. Right. So I agree. This is too far out to be claiming we're trying to do something with the election in November.
Right. We're October 6th. We got a month here.
Yeah.
Don't act like it. But of course the conspiracy theorists are all enraged by this, specifically those that are focused on politics. I'll think it's a way to hamper people participating and voting for Donald Trump. The other thing that's really weird is, I had a moral moment with this because it's furthering, these theories is not what you're supposed to be doing. Yeah. But every news outlet has picked this up, Jessica. You can read about the manufacturing of Hurricane Helene across Forbes, across everything. And it's okay, hold yourself accountable.
Yeah.
To furthering this. So our, 30 listeners, our 11 listeners who are listening to these conspiracy theories and then now are armed with this information.
Yes.
Like,
you could have heard it on the mainstream
you could have
media.
heard it on the mainstream. We are not the only people talking about this. So anyway, those are the two conspiracy theories.
I've noticed too, and I think it is like there's something to be said with a lot of the ones you've picked up lately are weather related. Yeah. China and the sun.
Right.
We've had a lot of things that are weather, which is totally very true. Concerning. It just, something's happening.
I think though, Jessica, too, the major point of a conspiracy theorist is that they try and make irrational things rational. Like that is the truth of a conspiracy theory. To a point where you almost feel sorry for them, right? Like sometimes bad things happen and they're inexplicable, right? But they want the logic behind it, and that's why they come up with the conspiracy theory.
It's comforting,
right?
There must be a reason.
You can track that as we go through more climate change and things are happening that aren't always helpful to the society that we live in, that they're trying to rationalize it, not because they want climate change to be the answer, but because they want other malicious forces.
I was going to say, how far will we go before we'll just admit climate change?
Ruined the earth a little bit. I mean, it's 80 degrees in October.
In Chicago, it's not normal.
Come on, folks. Let's just get with it. Anyway, so that's although we talk about conspiracy theories on this podcast, that's also my PSA around them, that even some of these feel a little...
we talk about them. We're not trying to perpetuate. We're trying to talk about both sides. Usually I've never heard of them, so.
But that Kroger thing, if that is true, that
oh my
makes me
God,
mad.
I had not heard that one.
I'm coming for blood if that Kroger thing is real.
Yeah, I'm going to start growing my own fruits and veggies.
Anyway, Jessica, it was great talking to you as always. We'll be back next week. We're going to watch Potomac and see if that one's worth it, that franchise. But
four franchises
we've never done
fit
4.
in here. We'll have to see.
It's going to be rapid fire, folks.
Yes.
All right. Bye, Jessica.
Bye.